Hey guys, so today I thought it would be fun to do a Q&A because I haven't done one in a while. I think the last one I did was with Pippa, my snake, so it was just snake specific, but I haven't done a general Q&A for quite a while, so I'm just repeating myself, but that is what I'm going to be doing today. If you hear growling and jingling in the background, Steve and Ellie are a little bit excited right now. I actually just got home from work and I'm filming right away. Usually I don't film that much during the week because I'm tired when I get home, but I really wanted to get a video out for you guys, so I just got home. They're still very excited, so they're attacking each other. But I asked you guys for questions on Instagram. Instagram is usually where I go when I want questions for a Q&A, so if you don't follow me on there, make sure you do. It's in my description like always. So I ended up getting a ton of questions, so I know I'm not going to get to all of them, but I'm going to try to answer as many as I can without boring you guys to death. I asked for pet related questions and just random questions. So the first question is, if you got a bigger house and made 3 times more money than you do now, how many pets would you have? If I had a huge house and made 3 times the amount of money I had now, that would be amazing, but I would probably have the same amount of pets. Right now, my number of pets isn't limited by the amount of money or space I have because I have plenty of space and money to care for more pets, but it's just about what I personally feel I can care for. Right now I have 11 pets, which I think is actually another question, so I'm answering 2 in 1. I have 11 pets and I've really been enjoying the amount I have right now. I'm not feeling overwhelmed at all and I have plenty of time and everything to care for them. So even if I did have a huge house and a lot of money, I don't think I would get any more pets, at least right now. In the future, if my situation changes, I definitely know I will be getting more pets, but this is a good number for me right now. So the next question is, what do you think about loose substrate for leopard geckos? This question is pretty controversial, it seems like. I think most people, or at least a lot of people, can agree that sand is just a no-go in general. You won't find too many people, unless they've been keeping leopard geckos for a really long time, that think sand is a good option. But there are a lot of people that think other loose substrates such as eco-earth are good. Personally, I fall in the camp of not liking loose substrate. I do think there are obviously some benefits of using loose substrate, like your leopard gecko can do more natural behavior such as digging that they can't do if you have them on paper towel or tile. But for me personally, the benefits of using loose substrate just don't outweigh the risk involved. I know you can't get rid of all risk, but the point of having pets in captivity is you want to minimize the risk as best as you can. And for me, loose substrate is just one of those risks that is very apparent, so why not minimize it? I know if you have a healthy gecko, a lot of people say the loose substrate's not a risk at all, but once again, that's not something I personally feel comfortable risking. So although I'm not completely against loose substrate, if you really know what you're doing, it's just not a good option for me, and I have no plans on trying loose substrate for my leopard geckos. Of course, I wanted to film this video right away and get it out for you guys, and my camera battery is already flashing telling me it's going to die because no matter how many cameras and batteries I have, they're never charged. So hopefully I can get through these. A lot of the questions I got were the same, and this happens every time I do a Q&A. It's, would you get this animal? Would you get this animal? So I'm gonna go through a few of those animals right now that I got asked about and just answer if I would get them or not. So the first person wants to know if I would get a mouse. I probably wouldn't get a mouse. I think they're really cute, but my roommate had mice in college and they are a little bit too smelly for me, so probably no mice. Going off of that, I probably also want to get a ferret. Ferrets also are a little too smelly for me, and ferrets also require a lot of attention and care, and right now I don't have the time for another pet that is that high maintenance, so no ferrets. Someone else wants to know if I would ever get rats. I would love to have rats sometime in the future. I know they are probably pretty smelly too, so that doesn't make sense with my mice, but I really do love rats. I think they're really adorable and they're very sweet, so sometime in the future, not in the near future, I would probably get rats. Someone else wants to know if I would get a cat. Probably not. I grew up with cats. I love other people's cats, but I don't think they're a good pet for me. Would I ever get fish? No, I've had fish in the past. Once again, not a good pet for me, along with birds. There are a lot of animals like fish and birds and cats that I really enjoy, and I love other people's animals, but they're just not something that I think would fit in my life. And I have researched a lot of animals and then decided they're not one for me, like hedgehogs. I absolutely love hedgehogs. I think they're the cutest thing in the world, but not a good fit for me. Someone wants to know what is my favorite animal. I think I answer this in almost every Q&A. My favorite animal is a hippo. The next question is your favorite pet tuber. I watch quite a few pet tubers. I'm friends with quite a few pet tubers, but if I had to pick a favorite, I would probably say my favorite pet tuber is Emily Rose. Now that we've answered that question, Let's see, what is a good starter reptile? I know a lot of people don't like the phrase like starter reptile or starter pet just because you do have to be prepared to take care of anything and do your research, no matter if it is usually considered a starter pet or not. But if you're ready to do research and you're looking into a reptile, I think some good first reptiles are either a leopard gecko or a crested gecko. I actually have a video on my channel that talks about leopard geckos and crested geckos and kind of compares them a little bit, and then I tell which one I think is the best for a first pet. But I think either leopard geckos or crested geckos are pretty good for your first reptile. Piper, my leopard gecko, was my first and I don't regret it a bit. The next question is, who's the most entertaining animal you own? Definitely Steve. I'm pointing over here because he's laying right there. He's always beside me. No matter when I film or anything, he's probably just off camera because he is pretty much attached to the hip. He is a handful. I can see him over here just wagging because I'm saying his name, and Steve is a good boy. But Steve is probably my most entertaining pet just because he has so much energy and personality. After that question, this is a question a pet owner is never supposed to answer, but someone wants to know what is my favorite pet. Most people won't pick favorites, but I think it's kind of hard to deny a favorite when you got one tattooed on your body. I know you can't see it very well in this video, but about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I did get a tattoo of Steve on my arm, so he's still wagging because I'm saying his name, but don't tell anyone else, but Steve is my favorite. The next question is, how do gerbils compare to hamsters? This is actually a question I want to address in more detail, and I plan on doing a full video about it. I want to do a video kind of like my leopard gecko versus crested gecko video, where I don't necessarily say which one is better. It's just kind of stating some facts about each so you can decide which one might be best for you based off those facts. And then at the end of that video, I would tell which one I personally prefer. So if you'd be interested in the hamsters versus gerbil video, let me know down in the comments, and I would definitely get around to that at some time. I wouldn't say soon, but sometime. Someone wants to know, what is my day job? I am an accountant during the day. I work full time. It's very exciting stuff. The next question is also related to my job. It is, have you ever taken a pet to work? I feel like I shouldn't answer that question because I don't want to incriminate myself. I'll say that, but yeah, it's a good question. I've had so many people ask if I would ever get a hamster again. I actually addressed this in the beginning of my last video, so if you haven't watched that yet, I will put it at the end of this video. It's the video I did about the complete hamster kit. I talked about it at the beginning because I've been getting that question so much. But basically, yes, I do plan on getting a hamster again. No, not for a very long time. At least right now in my life, I don't feel like it would be a good decision, but I do love hamsters. I love owning them. So I'm sure at some point they will be back on this channel. Someone wants to know, what is my favorite type of gecko? I do love a lot of geckos, but my favorite are definitely leopard geckos. That's what I started with. Piper was my first gecko. Now I do have 3 leopard geckos. I just think they are so sweet. They all have their own personalities. Piper has the biggest personality ever for a gecko, so she kind of just like broke my heart and made me fall in love with them. But leopard geckos are definitely my favorite. I know a lot of people think they're like the beginner reptiles and they're really boring and basic just because a lot of people do get them first. So a lot of people, once they own reptiles for years, kind of grow out of leopard geckos and don't keep them anymore. But honestly, I can't see a point in my life where I never want to have a leopard gecko or multiple leopard geckos because I do love them that much. The next question, I think this is going to be my last question just because I don't know how much battery I have left, and this will kind of be like a little bit longer story. But someone wants to know, what is your funniest pet story? And I try to think of this earlier when I got the question, and I know it seems insane, but I couldn't think of any funny stories. And then I finally thought of one. I know it's not that funny, but if you were there, I promise it was. But I'm just awful at telling stories anyway, and you guys aren't there. So this will just show you how bad my storytelling is and how weird my sense of humor is. But my funniest pet story involves Ellie. It was when I was in college and I was living with my roommate Megan. You guys have seen her on my channel multiple times. So I don't feed my dogs people food. They don't get scraps, they don't get extras, except they do get macaroni and cheese. I don't know why I decided to give them macaroni and cheese, but Ellie will murder you for macaroni and cheese. It is her favorite food. She only gets like a couple noodles every time. Steve gets it too, but Ellie is obsessed over macaroni and cheese. So Megan and I were sitting there eating. I don't know what we had for dinner, but I do know we had macaroni and cheese and we had green beans. Megan had gave Ellie a piece of macaroni and cheese because she was like right up. Once again, my dogs don't beg because they know they don't get fed, but if you're eating macaroni and cheese, they smell it, they will wait. So Ellie was waiting to get some macaroni and cheese from Megan, and she gave her a piece and got really excited. And then, like I mentioned, we were also eating green beans. So Megan grabbed a green bean and gave it to Ellie, and Ellie just grabbed it without even thinking because she thought she was getting macaroni and cheese. And when Ellie got that green bean in her mouth, I know it's not funny because like without seeing it, it doesn't make any sense. But when Ellie took a bite of that green bean, it was like a child that thought they were getting like chocolate and then got Brussels sprouts, because her face was pure disgust. She thought she was getting some delicious creamy macaroni and cheese and bit into a green bean, and I had no idea that dogs can make that facial expression, and it was the funniest thing ever. She still eats macaroni and cheese. I could probably trick her with it again because she just snarfs it down so fast, but seeing a dog be absolutely disgusted by a green bean is one of the best things. Like I said, I know it doesn't make any sense, but you had to be there. I know that's like the worst thing to say at the end of the story is you had to be there, but it's true. But like I said, that's going to be the last question I'm answering today because I'm surprised my battery has made it this long. So if you did enjoy this Q&A, hopefully you guys did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time.